Hello everybody, Jen from Scrapping Under the Influence. If you follow me on Facebook or on Instagram, you will have seen this already, but about a week ago, a little over a week ago, I launched a website where I am now starting to sell acrylic albums and embellishments. So I wanted to get on here and kind of do a show and tell of the different albums, the other couple of elements that I've got on the site right now, and then walk you through some ideas on how to decorate and use these albums. So I have 6 different albums right now. I have my Magical Vacation, which is my Disney inspired album. The albums do come masked, so you will pull the masking off the acrylic before you use them. They all come with their binder rings. The Rainbow album and the Tag album, when you purchase those, you will be emailed an SVG file to be able to cut pages for this. The Rainbow album, which is right here, because the pages are definitely a shaped album, I do also include a set of lightweight chipboard page templates if you don't have a silhouette or a Cricut or something that you can upload that SVG file to. You will have templates to be able to use to both punch your holes in your paper and to cut your paper if you want to do the pages the full shape. The cool thing about this one is you can do them where they're just this bottom section, and it actually works really well as well. Then I have my little 3-tab clear mini albums basics. So that's what the other 4 are, what I'm calling my mini album basics. So these are albums that will go together really quickly. They will work for any paper collection you have. They will work for any occasion you want to make an album for. And they're a little bit lighter weight chipboard than either of these. And they just are 100% clear. There's no colored acrylic. They are just the clear acrylic. So this is the 3-tabbed that comes like so. This is my Tag album, which is that one right there. My 4x6, and then what I'm calling a mini slim, even though it's slightly shorter than like a mini slim or a slimline card. That one ends up being 4.5 by 7.5, 4.5 by 4.25 by 6.5, 4x6. This one's 5.25 or 5.5. I've lost my ruler. I don't remember off the top of my head. 5 3/8 by 5.5 out to the edge of the tabs. I've also got my page spacers for 1/2-inch gussets. So one of the things, even having made about a million mini albums, the thing I always still kind of struggle with is getting my pages onto my hinge and getting them on there straight and getting them on there with that little bit of a space you need so that your hinge turns perfectly, all that kind of thing. So literally, I got a Glowforge Aura for Christmas, which is their smaller, like craft-focused laser cutter, okay? This was the second thing I cut with it. I'd had this in my head, I designed it, I test cut it. I actually made myself one for bigger page gussets to do the December daily with Tamara from Country Craft Creations, and it worked beautifully, and I was like, oh yeah, I like this. And then I made some for my friends. And on the Aura, it took hours and hours and hours to cut just a handful of sets. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know that I can really mass produce these. And this just kind of stayed in my head for months and months. And I finally decided, I have talked about getting a Glowforge for years, like probably since they came out. And that I would like to make acrylic albums. And I would like to be able to make acrylic embellishments. And I would like to be able to just do some different things that you can't do with like the Cricut or the Silhouette or, you know, things like that. So that's kind of where that came from. Oh, and then I have one set right now of embellishments. I have some more coming. I have acrylic that's coming this week. So I have some new ones that'll hit the website this weekend, this coming weekend. But these are red, silver, and blue glitter acrylic snowflakes, fireworks. And these actually match the Doodlebug Hometown USA paper perfectly, and they look amazing with it, which is why I went with silver as opposed to finding like a white glitter with this one, because there's a lot of silver accents in that, but they also actually go really well with the Disney album. So, and I do use those on that, so when we take a look at that one. But if you're wondering why acrylic albums, so when I very first started paper crafting, like, I don't know, 16 or 17, probably 16 years ago, I guess, maybe 17, I don't know. It was right after we moved to Colorado. The very first time I'd had to PCS with my husband, and I made a friend there who got me into this. She sold close to my heart. She got me doing cards and layouts and that kind of thing. And then I found Archivers and I would do classes like all the time, and they sold tons of kits. And one of their types of kits that they sold acrylic album kits, and I think I bought every single one of them that they had. I bought every album blank that they had. In fact, back in the day, Doodlebug used to make acrylic albums that sometimes they would be in kits, sometimes they were just by themselves. I've got a couple of them somewhere in my stash in my closet, but they quit making them a long time ago. I think they just hit, like a lot of things, they kind of just, fell by the wayside, as far as popularity with crafters. I always missed them, and I always wanted to do them. They were one of those things that I just loved doing, and I wanted to do again. So this kind of gave me the option to do that and to do them myself and do different ones that like I wanted to see even back then. So let's take a look, and we're going to start with, let me move all of these out of the way. Let's start with the rainbow album. So like I said, it's going to come masked. It's going to come with the binder rings, and it's going to come with your templates, and they are not in the bag with the album because I didn't get these cut until this weekend. And then, like I said, when you buy this album, it will email you the SVG file to make your pages. The pages are slightly smaller than the album itself, but it's lined up where it will line up and cut them just perfectly. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. If it's going to let me. I don't think it is. Hold on. Okay, I turned autofocus on too, and we may end up regretting that. But, okay, so here is my first one. And this, honestly, when I decided to do this, and I'd ordered the big Glowforge and I was waiting for it to come, this was the first one I designed. So, this one is 5 acrylic pages. They are colored acrylic, and they are translucent acrylic. Okay, so there's a red, there's an orange, there's a yellow, a green, and a blue. And my green and blue pages I did actually matte directly on the acrylic, so you're not really able to see on that, but I do have an extra one. So totally translucent acrylic. So what I did with this one is when I was going through, and this one's not fully matted, and my Disney one's not fully matted, but this will give you kind of an idea. So you can cut and matte directly onto the acrylic. You can make your pages. You can do a lot of the same little flips and flaps and things that you do with a normal mini album with these. So like for example here, I've got a pocket page. I've got a couple of flaps on my, like normal pockets on my Disney album when we get to that one. But I've done a combination of the shaped page and then just a normal page. If you didn't want to cut those out, if you don't have a cutting machine and you don't want to use the templates to cut those. So I ended up making these pages 5 1/4 by 3 7/8. So basically 5 1/4 by 4, which is not a bad size. I will do some bigger albums in time, but to start with, I did keep them on the smaller side in large part because it would make it a lot easier to ship them for now. And then I turned around and made my little crates and the shelf that they go with, and still had to buy bigger boxes. So there you go. So this one I did not do any matting on yet. Like I said, I'm still working on this one. This one is not 100% done at this point, but it had enough in it to kind of give you an idea. You know, you can have things hanging out the side, popping out the top, so on and so forth. So that is the rainbow album. This one comes with 2-inch binder rings, and this one does not want to stay hooked on me for some reason. Okay, so that was my first one. I'll show you my other that's not 100% done. And that is the Doodlebug over the rainbow paper that I used on that one. So for this one, I used the Simple Stories Say Cheese at the Park Magical. So this was their one that came out 2 years ago. This had the mini collections for like Fantasyland and Frontierland and all of that. This one is just the main basic kind of Disney inspired collection. This one I did use my fireworks embellishments on the front, and you can see the engraving on there on that red one for sure. It really pops on that red. It's good on the other two, but that red one, it just really wow. Anyway, so this one is also tabbed. I've got my little version of a Mickey icon on the side here for your tabs. This one, I believe the pages end up being 5 3/8 by 5 3/8, so you can cut your page bases to 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. You can pop things up, you can layer things. I did mat directly on the acrylic here. I did mat and then add just a totally normal pocket like you would do in a normal mini album. And like I said, this one's not done, but I mean, I still have normal flaps and things in here, like so. And the really cool thing with these is you can get like chunky with your embellishments, because you can change out the ring size. If you decide you want it not as chunky, if you want it chunkier, you can change out your ring size. So this one comes with 1 1/2 inch binder rings. The mini album basics all come with 1 1/4. But yeah, so I just, you know, like I said, I got started here. I've got another pocket there. Got another little flap there. I was starting to mat this one and got interrupted yesterday, so I didn't get it finished. But I didn't want to delay posting this until I did have it 100% finished, because I at least had enough done to give you an idea of how this is going to work out. Okay, so mini album basics. Okay, so I have 4 styles of mini album basics right now. There will be more coming. I have my 3 tabbed, I have my 4 1/2 by 7 1/2, my 4 by 6 tag, and my 4 1/4 by 6 1/2 album that is meant for like 4 by 6 photos, that you literally could cut your page bases, put your pictures directly on them without like trimming them or anything, punch holes in them, put them in the album, and you're good to go. Okay, but let's start with the 4 1/2 by 7 1/2. For this one, I used Country Craft Creations Pooh's Adventures with Friends paper, and this one I kept fairly simple. Oh, and I used the Echo Park stickers because they go really well with this. But I literally took the 8 by 8 paper collection, and I was able to just take that, trim it down to fit in my album, and score it, and I have got flaps for pretty much every single one of my pages. I used some Artisan for photo mats, but I went directly with the pattern paper for this into the album. This one I scored and folded, so I've got pockets, like a big pocket here and like a little tuck spot on this outside edge. Photo mat, and again, the big flap, the little pocket with the tuck spot, big pocket here, flap again, and then this one I have my flap on the back side and Same thing here with my pocket and my tuck spot. I added tulle to the edges, but literally this one came together in about 30 minutes. Total start to finish, decorated, adding the ribbon, the whole bit. You can absolutely add ribbon to your rings. I typically don't when I do these kinds of albums, and I did ring-bound albums for years and years before I started doing mini albums the way you're used to seeing them from me. So that's probably kind of where I went. I don't usually do ribbon, but this one, I had the tulle sitting right here. It was perfect with it. I thought it was great. So there we go. So there's that one. That is the mini slimline is what we're calling this one. Next up is my tabbed album. This one has actually been fairly popular. I really like this one. And I've got some shorter videos that I'm going to post actually directly on the product pages, kind of showing you some tips and tricks on how to make your pages and how to decorate and that kind of thing, just to kind of give you some inspiration. So this was a Simple Stories kit or collection that I got. I don't even know where I got it from, quite honestly. I was like digging through trying to find a paper to use and found this one. I think it's called This Is the Life. It's from a couple of years ago. Had a lot of kind of gray tone to it. But I took one of the Simple Stories chipboard frames and put it directly on the acrylic on the front. So you're able to see that pretty paper for the front page through that album front without having to build a shaker, as much as I love shakers, and I will be doing acrylic shakers, you just wait. But I kept this one, like I said, very, very simple. I just did my pages, I rounded them, I matted them, and especially when you're doing your page base and then matting, they are more than strong enough. You are not going to have to worry about them pulling out of your book doing them this style. If you've got nice heavy paper like the CCC paper, I'm not worried about the pages on this one pulling out either. And then I was able to I used every one of my chipboard pieces on this. I used the frames in a couple of places in here. So there's another one of the frames. And then my matting I just repeated in the second half of this one. And I'm going to do a bigger version of this book. I love this tabbed album. But that's coming. That's coming. I am only one person. I can only do so many things at one time. Try as I might. And then on the back page, I just went directly onto the acrylic with the cardstock stickers from the collection, and it just looks very, very cool. So there's that one. This is the tabbed mini album basics. And then the next two. Okay. So these are both Simple Stories collections. This is Simple Stories Life in Bloom, and this is the brand new Simple Stories Simple Vintage Linen Market that I literally just got from Country Craft Creations last week. Both of these collections, and they've been doing this with collections for about a year now, have rub-ons. Oh my gosh, look at the rub-ons on the acrylic. Is that not... It looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing. So I did the same thing on this one. So I did the rub-ons, and then I did one of the chipboard pieces, and it just looks awesome. And then you're still seeing your paper through that clear acrylic front, and it just wow. I love how that turned out. So for this one, this is the 4 4¼ by 6½, so you can use your full 4x6 pictures. You can turn this landscape or portrait, either way, it is up to you. And this one I kept fairly simple. This one was like 100% done, matted, decorated, and I just took and made flaps on a lot of, or pocket pages out of a lot of these pages on this one, because you can. I mean, it was not something, normal pocket there. It was not something I probably would have thought of ever doing like this with a ring-bound album had I not spent the last few years making mini albums at a chipboard from scratch, like, you're used to seeing from me. But it was like, I started playing with these. I'm like, why couldn't you do it that way? And you know what? It works. So again, there's another big flap there. And there you go. And I didn't do anything on the back side of this one. And then this is the tag album. This is 4x6. This one does come with a cutting, an SVG file to cut your tags if you want to. I did cut my tags for this the exact same size as the album itself. So basically I took a 4x6 piece of paper, I did my dog ears, and then just matted and decorated to my little heart's content. And I could have added more pages. In fact, I think I had more tags cut and I just didn't put the rest of them in here. But this one, again, I just used artisan cardstock, matted it with the paper collection. I've used the foam stickers, I've used the chipboards, which are, you know, nice dimensional embellishments. And I don't have to worry about this getting too chunky, because if it does, I just put a bigger ring on it and I can keep adding to it. On a couple of the pages, I took and matted them part way to make a pocket. You know, chipboard pieces in here. I've got just normal ephemera. There's my other pocket, and so on and so forth. And then I've got chipboard back there, and there's the tag album. So super easy, really fun to use. It's just, you know, it's something different. It's something different that, you know, hasn't been around for a while, and I really think needs to make a comeback, and hopefully I can kind of make that happen. So there it is. I will leave the link to the store in the comments, or the description box below, and please go check them out. The first 5 orders of the rainbow album will get a couple of yards of rainbow ribbon to go with it. And yeah, go check it out. And oh, that's what I was going to say. In addition to that, I do have, and I did a reel about with it the other day, I also have these little acrylic crates. And I love them, and they snap together, and like once they're together, they're not going anywhere. They are clear. I have a handful of kind of an opaque white as well. And they go on the cutest little shelf that I can't get to because my crates that are on it are all full of little bits and bobs, and my shelf has a bunch of stuff in front of it, but it is also on the website as an option as well. So I'm going to put in a few more little things like this as you know, time progresses and I get going. So thank you for watching. Go check out the shop, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!